Hi, welcome to Actual Spinster. My name is Anna Marie and today I'm just going to show you books that I got recently. So first I got Paradise Lost by John Milton, which I think I did talk about because it's part of some teaching assistant, like a module that I'm like a teaching assistant for, and I'm kind of shadowing some of the teaching stuff, and yeah, so I want to be in the like seminar for Paradise Lost, so I picked up this copy because I was like, I've been like meaning to read and reread Paradise Lost for like probably like 2-3 years now, so this is a perfect time. So yeah, I got this copy. Then we have When the Museum is Cold by Emi Yagi, translated by Yuki Tajima, which I have already read and I was kind of disappointed in, but I like bought it because I thought the premise was like so perfect for me and like so something that I would enjoy. And then I didn't really turn out that way. Like unfortunately I just felt like it was just kind of lacking in its execution, but that's okay. And it's, you know, it's nicely like published edition. Then we have a book that I talked about like picking up as well, and that's The Revolution According to Raimundo Matta by Gina Apostol. This is going to be the second Gina Apostol I've read. I've talked about Insurrecto before, which I read I think maybe 2 years ago now, which is also by her, and like I just loved that so much, and it was like such a great and just excellent book that it made me want to like just read basically everything that she's written. So I decided that this was going to be what I read next, and yeah, I'm pretty sure that one of the characters in Insurrecto is actually maybe in this, because it looks like there's a translator in it called Magdalene, which is what as far as I remember, that's what the character in Insurrecto was called. I don't actually know whether this was published before or after. Also there's like loads of footnotes, which like I am a big, like loads of footnotes, but I'm a big footnote fan, so I'm very excited to read this. I think it will be really interesting, and I imagine it will have some of the similar-ish themes as as Insurrecto, but like I just thought that book was so incredible, so yeah, really excited to read this. Next we have Coriolanus by Shakespeare, which I have read, and it's for the like teaching assistant stuff that I was talking about, like with the module with Milton. It's the same module, so I did some teaching stuff with this, and I wanted my own copy so that I could mark it up if I needed to and blah blah blah. Yeah, Coriolanus is like fine. It's a really boring play, I think, really. The next book is a Rose Macaulay book, which is Whatnot, a prophetic comedy. It's definitely been like the year of me buying Rose Macaulay books. Whether I've been reading them is another question, but like I bought this book from Rose Macaulay at the beginning of the year, which is Potterism. And then I more recently, I think it was my summer book haul, mentioned that I bought this book, Non-Combatants and Others. And they're also all handheld, but I have read Potterism and I just thought it was really fascinating. And it just made me want to read more Rose Macaulay, like it was really interesting. And I actually had Whatnot on my kind of TBR like way longer than Potterism. I got Potterism because it was like on offer, and then like they didn't have Whatnot, so I had to find this secondhand, and I didn't want to pay like £20 for it, so I finally did find it, and in this like edition too, so that was really great. But yeah, I'm just really interested because this was published in 1918. It's like a speculative fiction novel. It's a lot shorter than I thought it would be, which is interesting, so I do hope to kind of read this soon. So yeah, I also think I might make a kind of like 1900s 1910s TBR, like of books on my shelves that are from the 1910s and from the 1900s. Like as in those two first decades of the 20th century, and obviously this would be included because I just feel like very interested in that kind of time period as well. I mean, obviously I am more interested in 1920s stuff, but Rose Macaulay does bridge that really. Like Potterism was from 1920. I have another of her book here which is from 1921, I think, and stuff like that. So anyway, that's that. Okay, next I have this, which is Jewish Folktales in Britain and Ireland by Liz Berg, which is a collection of Jewish folktales. Something that's really nice about this, I think, is that they're like separated by place. I don't think you can see that, but like, so there's quite a few stories from London. There's Ramsgate, Oxford, Norwich, Hull, Leeds, Bradford, York, Newcastle, Edinburgh, Dundee, Glasgow, Belfast, Dublin, Liverpool, Manchester. Don't know why I did that without breathing. Birmingham, Swansea, Cardiff, Newport, Dawlish, Plymouth, Penzance, Falmouth and Truro, which I think is really nice. I think, you know, quite a lot of the time people say that they're like collections of like British folktales and stuff, and then it's mostly just like one particular place. But that seems to have like a really wide range. There obviously are some that have more than others, but that's fine. That's sort of understandable from size and also history. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading these. Like, I also think that, like, you know, Jewish folktales and stuff that are like part of this place tend to be kind of like erased or thought to just not exist at all because of the history of like Jewish expulsion in like the Middle Ages and stuff like that, which is like, obviously that's part of the history, but there obviously has been like Jewish presence, and like Anglo Jewry has existed in the UK for a while, and so there is like a legacy to that. So yeah, really looking forward to checking these out, and there's some really cute illustrations. But yeah, there's this, which I think will just be really nice to check out. Okay, so following on from October and like reading Victorian stuff in October, which I didn't do very well, but like I, you know, engaged in lots of like conversation about it, and that just made me realize like I really should read more Amy Levy. I talked about how I read one of her novels, which is Reuben Sachs, but I really want to read more of her work, so I decided to finally pick up more of her work, and this is The Romance of a Shop. I believe it follows a group of sisters, who set up like a photography shop. So I'm really intrigued to see. I'm also intrigued to see if there is any kind of reference to like Jewish community in this, because Reuben Sachs is very much about that. But I sort of feel like from what people say about it, there isn't that element to this. Which is also kind of interesting in itself. Yeah, and it's a novel from 1888, I think. Yeah, just like really intrigued to get to it at some point. I also will say, I know I've said that I really like Broadview editions, which I do, because they publish like a bunch of stuff that's really hard to access, especially when, you know, yeah. But the one thing I don't like is that on every page, instead of having like a continuous footnote numbering system, they just have it per the page. So this footnote is footnote number 1, and then this footnote is footnote number 1, and then whenever there's another footnote it'll start again from 1. So that's 1, 2 and 3, and then that's 1 and 2, and that just like is a bit frustrating. I don't really like that. I don't think it's that deep. But I just wanted to say, because it has been annoying me a little bit when I was reading A Sunless Heart. Okay, and then finally I have this book, which is Distant Fathers, a memoir by Marina Jar, translated by Anne Goldstein. And this book, either I saw it on insert literary pun here, or like Jennifer Jelenkova's, I think is maybe her channel name now, her channel, or I saw it on this like translation blog that I follow where they talked about this translation. So it was translated from the Italian. Obviously Anne Goldstein is famous because she, as a translator, because she translated Elena Ferrante. It kind of stuck with me because of the fact that it's by a Jewish woman who began life, I think, in Latvia, and then travelled to Italy. I was sort of realising that like I don't really think I know very much about Latvia at all, and I'm obviously always interested in like Jewish history and Jewish stories, so I felt like this was like an interesting way to kind of go into learning a bit more about Latvia perhaps. But it also just seemed like a really fascinating time period. So it starts in the 1920s and 30s. Marina Jar's father like died in the Holocaust, so I think there's also that kind of dimension to it as well. And I don't know, it just seemed really interesting. I feel like I did a bad job of like telling you why I'm interested. There is, I think, like a secondary memoir after this, so it's like a series, which like obviously if I read this and enjoy it then I probably would check that out. It also talks, I think, about her experience of being like a linguistic minority in a Baltic nation, and I'm just so fascinated by like linguistic diversity, and yeah, I just like I love dialects. I love the sort of differences and similarities between how people speak. I just find it really fascinating, so I also thought that from that perspective it would be really interesting to me, and so yeah, I'm looking forward to checking it out. Let me know if you've read any of these books, and yeah, if there's ones I should read sooner rather than later. Sorry, I just sneezed, so yeah, and like thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you when I next talk to you. Bye!